So my friends, in this video we're taking a first look and unboxing of the new LG C3. This is the upgrade to the C2. Let's take a closer look. Don't forget to hit the red button to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up and click the notification bell to get my next video first. Okay, so we recently bought this TV so that we could do this review for you, and we paid a lower price than the first release price because they've already been discounted. I'll leave a link so that you can check the latest price. So I'm really interested to see how well this C3 does compared to the C2 last year. Certainly the C2 was a massive jump forward over the C1 from the previous year, and so this has got a little bit of pressure on it. Plus there's some competition in the market, so it will be very interesting. Now the first thing to say about this, I unboxed the Samsung S95C a couple of days ago, and there's certainly nowhere near as much in this one, and putting the stand together is far more simpler. I will do a head-to-head, so I won't go through too much of the comparison in this video. Now putting the stand together is straightforward. All you need to do is put two screws in the bottom after you've slotted in the back plate. Screw those up and then you're ready to attach that to the TV. It's quite a nice looking stand. It is quite minimal, so it's going to be interesting to see whether the TV wobbles at all. Now I always lay the TV down on a flat surface so that I'm not damaging the screen, and then pop the stand in the bottom, and then there's just 4 more screws which you need to screw in. Once you've got that in place, you're ready to lift it into place. Now they do recommend 2 people, but this TV is pretty light, so 1 person carrying this is no issue at all. Now I do like the design of this year's TV. It does look quite similar to last year's, and again I'll do a head-to-head for you in that, so that if you want to choose between getting the C2 or the C3, you'll get some good ideas. Right, so the back of it is the same type of almost material-like plastic design. It is all plastic, there is no metal other than the very front of the stand. All of the connections are on the left-hand side of the TV, and as normal for the last few years from LG, they're all 4K HDMI 2.1 at 120 Hz. Now this year there is some incredible cable management. Wait for it, guys. There. That's it, that's the cable management, but actually I do have to say it is surprisingly effective, because you can actually slot all of your HDMI cables in that gap. Right, the next thing to do is take the film off. Now I was hoping this was going to be a little bit more dramatic. In reality, there is a big difference between the brightness of the screen when you take the peel off rather than when you're leaving it on. And I do have to say, first impressions out of the box is that this looks brilliant. The bezels on this thing, again, look far more minimal than before. Certainly they're more minimal than the S95C, and again, I'll show you that head to head. But it really is picture to picture. Now the first thing I suggest you do is select a picture mode. Now, out of the box, I always think, certainly with the LGs for the last couple of years, that the one to go for is ISF in a bright room. So ISF Expert in a bright room. That gives you a great choice of settings, but I will again do a full settings video later on this year. The next thing you need to do is to go into the general setting and then go all the way down to the bottom to energy saving and turn the energy saving off, and immediately you'll see the TV gets even brighter, and then you're ready to really experience how good this TV is. So first of all, let's show you some hero shots. So these are LG's shots which show the TVs off to their maximum capability, and obviously they do look absolutely incredible. The colors look natural and well balanced. The screen doesn't appear to be overexposed at all. The contrast is fantastic, as you'd expect with an OLED, and the black detail is infinite, and so therefore it is wonderful. So all of this just looks absolutely brilliant. But I was really surprised in SDR. SDR this year, straight out of the box without any calibration at all, just seemed a little bit better, and I don't think I got that same feeling on the S95C, but again I'm in the process of calibrating that one and reviewing it, so therefore I will let you know on that. But the picture quality of the C3 is at least on a par with last year's, but I would say I'm a little bit more impressed. Now when they're side by side, I will show you and you can make the decision yourself, but it just looks, everything looks absolutely gorgeous. It looks beautiful, and it's a great value TV. In HDR mode, it looked brilliant. Movies looked fantastic, and again I'll go into that in much more detail. Brightness both in HDR and SDR modes is a shade better than last year, but not a massive jump forward. As always, I ran my color test and my motion test and I didn't have any issues at all. This is a perfectly clean screen as you'd expect from an OLED. There's no dark corners and no marks on the screen at all. This is something which is worthwhile doing because some people say that it's not because it just highlights the problems with your TV, but if you run the color test then you'll see exactly how dirty your screen may be, especially if you've got an LED screen. But overall, I was very happy with the picture quality that this delivered. Now, in terms of the brightness, this is substantially lower brightness than the S95C, but for some reason, without that one being in the room next to it, it didn't appear that way to me. It seemed great. So don't get het up on just brightness numbers, because sometimes it's the overall just experience. And unless you've got two TVs side by side, which I don't think many of you will have, then you probably won't notice. So this is representative of the type of image that you can get. And I don't think anyone is going to be thinking that this looks particularly dull. In fact, everything just looks fantastic. Now, I do have the LG G3 in another room, so I think I am going to put these side by side just to see what the differences are, because the LG G3 absolutely blew me away when I set that one up. Okay, so in terms of menu systems, the game optimizer, you've still got two settings. You've got the quick setting when you press the settings button once in game mode, and then you can go into the full game optimizer menu and make various different changes. With the operating system, again, similar to the G3, if you watch my video on that, it's a far more slimmer down version. I love the fact that you've got these cards along the top, which are really easy and quick shortcuts, so I use those quite a lot, and you've still got your same access to all of your apps underneath those. And then there's a little bit of advertising underneath, but it's certainly not too much. And then you've got a now streaming, which gives you ideas of, from what you've got installed, different options which are available, which again I don't mind, and I think that can be quite helpful. There doesn't seem to be a huge amount of adverts, and I think that that again is a step forward. It's certainly again better than the S95C. That one was just full of adverts and recommended viewing material. As with last year, if you want to reposition your main apps for your most used ones at the beginning of the options list, then you can do that very easily. Just hold them and drag them to one side. I'm sure everybody moves LG channels right to the far end. And again this year you've got multi-view, where you've got picture-in-picture or side-by-side. This is an option which you can have one HDMI channel and then one other app. So for instance YouTube plus whatever you're watching. Or you can have live TV and things like that. Now, some people may think it's a bit of a gimmick, but I do think it's something which a lot of people will use, so I'm quite pleased it's there. Now, in terms of reflection handling, this TV does okay. It does about the same as the C2 last year. The C2 made a massive jump forward compared to the C1 from the previous year, and this one is about the same. Certainly, from unboxing the S95C a couple of days ago, I don't think that this one is going to be as good as that, but again, I'll show you that head-to-head. But it's certainly not too distracting, and I've tried to pick something right opposite a window, so this is it at its worst. But if you're watching something bright, for instance, then you probably won't notice. The viewing angle on this TV again is exceptional, the same as last year and similar to the S95C. There is no noticeable dimness no matter where you go on the angle, and this shot shows you exactly how thin the TV is, and it is incredibly thin. So the overall look of this TV is very similar to last year, with the central stand and the very thin bezels. In fact, I think the thin bezels are probably thinner than the S95C, but I'll show you that in the head-to-head video that we do. So if you're thinking of getting this TV, I don't think you're going to be disappointed for a second. The question will be is whether it's worth spending the same money on this or the same, if not similar, on the S95C. And hopefully my head-to-head comparison that's coming up will show you that. But the LG is a great TV. It looks fantastic. And when I go in to do my full review, I'll go into a lot more detail. But certainly, if you're in the market for a TV, this has to be a consideration. My friends, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you hit the red button to subscribe, and then you'll get all of those head-to-heads which will be coming up soon.